Okay. Okay, yeah, we're going to call to order the Township Committee meeting for Monday, February 24th, 2025. If you are able and willing, could you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll go on to the Open Public Meetings notice. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was sent to the Cranbury Press, Trenton Times, and Home News Tribune on January 3rd, 2025, posted on the Township's website and sent to those who requested a copy of the notice. We'll move on to roll call. Mr. Christopher?
Present.
Mrs. Elbadawi?
Here.
Dr. Rogers?
Here.
Mr. Scott?
Here.
And Mayor Kinnear?
Here.
Thank you.
I think we have one addition.
Yes, so this evening we will be adding one resolution to the consent resolutions, which will be item E, which is Cranbury Township Resolution number R02-25-051, authorizing the township to enter into a co-op pricing agreement.
Okay. I'd like to get a motion to approve the committee minutes from February 10th and the closed session minutes from February 10th, unless
moved.
anyone has any changes.
So moved. Second.
Going to move on to roll call. This will be for both sets of minutes. Mr. Christopher?
Yes.
Mrs. Elbadawi?
Yes.
Dr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Kinnear?
Yes.
It's unanimous for both. Thank you.
Okay. Now, last time we were asking for updates. Rob, you had none, so I'm going to have you start tonight because you had all your meetings.
So exciting. So I love going first. I actually was unable to join the school board meeting. I was traveling, but I will make a quick note that Cassie Shea has taken my vacant spot on the school board. And I did reach out and talk to Dr. Disler and Pramod Chifte. Essentially, not a whole lot going on that would impact us, but the addition and renovations at the school are going swimmingly. I think we can all see the steel up for the new piece of the building. It's exciting times. Nothing else to report there. I had the Municipal Alliance meeting on the 18th at 3:30. Spoke conveniently a lot that is associated with the school. Jam Fest was this past Friday. Sorry, the weeks go by quickly. They've been doing a lot of work with the Arrive program with the police department, which is exciting for us to be able to offer that service for mental health and folks who are in crisis. We approved Ed Garrity to be a speaker again, I think every other year maybe, for Career Day. And the Municipal Alliance committed to National Night Out again. Fingers crossed that the weather holds up. And that is August 5th. Some other things that were kind of minor as we went through some things about some senior activities we're talking about, some programs through Wellspring, et cetera. Later that day at 7 o'clock, we had our HPC meeting. That's my day. We talked about this last time. This is going to be a habit. There was a public hearing on the expansion of the historic district. Lots of conversation regarding that. Well, 5 or 6 folks in the public had various questions, concerns, et cetera. That is clearly moving forward at this point. We spend a lot of time talking about accomplishments and goals, design guidelines to help the community make some easier decisions when making updates to their properties, et cetera. CLG grant moving forward, some public outreach as far as goals, reminders that residents that they need to apply before doing work, things of that nature. Had a nice commentary by Richard Moody about the Hamlet over in the old rail station, which was very exciting and informative. And they're also putting a student volunteer seat into the HPC, which may or may not resolve some volunteer hours for some of our kids. So that will be that's some exciting times too. I think at this point, that's all.
Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions for Rob?
Rob, I just wanted to share with you, because I liaised with the Municipal Alliance last year, the grant that I was able to get for the teen mental health program out of PHS. I just wanted to, and Joanne is aware of this, but I just wanted to share with you that there was a phase of the grant that I had to satisfy very recently, which is to submit sort of the skeleton of what the program entails, and at every couple of weeks they're going to ask me for something else. So if you ever get asked about it, please just send it my way.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't know if you know the answer to this, but what are the next milestones for the school construction? Like what's going to be open next? And
I don't know that, but the website is very informative.
gotcha. I'll go on.
Who's next?
So there was an EC meeting on February 18th. I was at a funeral, but it was a short meeting, so I was unable to attend. Members are needed for the EC. This is the first time in the many years that I've been part of it that they've been down at least 2 members. So keep your ears and eyes open for Environmental Commission members. So they discussed their 2025 goals, including working on sustainable Jersey recertification possibly. They tabled the community energy grant until I could attend. I attended a webinar, and we have to resubmit some things we have the money, we'll get the money, but we have to resubmit for an application because the BPU has changed their application process. Anyway, they discussed stream cleanup April 12th. And one of the things that seems to be coming up constantly is dog curbing, especially in preserves, and dogs off leash. They're discussing whether more education of the public is needed for that, or possibly signage for curbing dogs. Let's see, the zoning board was canceled. Their next zoning board is March 5th. And I just want to let you know that the Environmental Commission had a student liaison, and our very first student liaison, they don't have that position anymore. Our very first student liaison is now a Rhodes Scholar. So you never know what these student liaison positions could do. Yeah. That's it. Any questions?
Just thinking about this whole curbing the dog, like every year we hear a very similar, someone lifts a very similar concern. What entity would be good to do exactly what you said? The signage part is independent of the signage, but maybe some of the education?
I think the Environmental Commission would be a really a good place, because it is an environmental, like off leash. I think it is a safety issue because potentially some dogs are not so good off leash, but also like the waste potentially could just get into our water streams, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your thought?
No, I really don't know. I don't know.
I mean, it could be parks too.
It could be parks. I know that one resident came to me last year to share that a dog off leash, or dogs off leash, often will sort of sabotage the efforts of a dog being trained to be a companion. Like once it is startled, that dog now gets put to the back of the line. They have to be thrown out of the program until they start all over again. And so it's more than just waste. I mean, it's really
Like for the Environmental Commission. I know like there are areas where you just step on it. It's pretty horrible.
Would that not be an issue for the police department? Dogs off leash?
Dogs off leash.
and-
Yeah,
Yes,
dogs off
yes,
leash, yes.
yes. But
But-
the education piece,
Yeah.
who could do that? Or have we done that in the past, Denise?
I believe, didn't we put that out when we sent out the reminders about the dog license? We had a whole pamphlet about it, and we sent that out.
people choose to ignore, they choose to ignore. You can only educate as much as you can. So, but we did do that. We sent it out.
Then that's fair enough.
You know, there are signs in Cranberry Brook Preserve. Remember, there's this big brown sign. Makes sense. But that has a lot of the rules on it. So Cranberry Brook Preserve has signage. So it's whether the EC feels that every open space should have it, or whether we feel that, you know, and then they bring it up to us.
If you can send me a copy of that pamphlet, and then maybe we just scan it in and include it in the mayor's update, just a reminder, and we can do it every other month or something like that, just as a reminder. I mean, the education here is like common sense. Like if your dog goes to the bathroom, pick it up. You know, like again, you
But
do
if
it
it's
around
off leash,
town,
you don't
but
know where it's going.
off leash. I totally agree. That's two
Yeah.
separate issues with
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just realized I did forget something else. I'm part of the traffic subcommittee, and we haven't met yet this year, but two lit speeding signs have appeared. And it doesn't appear just out of nowhere. There's a lot of work that goes behind it. And I'm as part of the traffic subcommittee, these were some of the recommendations. So enjoy the blinking speeding lit lights on Plainsboro Road and Cranberry Neck Road.
You had some recognition a few minutes ago from a resident acknowledging the flashing sign on Plainsboro Road. So
Great.
Just saying.
Yeah, but it's a team effort, and that's really important to know, and it does take time, but it's there now. Thanks, Jerry, for putting them up. I think it's Jerry, right?
Yeah, Jerry.
Yeah, okay.
I don't mind going. Is that okay with you, Matt? Yeah. Excellent. I just wanted to acknowledge before I start my report this evening that we have two very prominent community members that passed away this week. So deepest condolences to the Andrews family and to the Swale family on the passing of Jody Andrews and Norma Swale. They will certainly leave a gaping hole in this community. So our hearts go out to them. On a more official report, the Affordable Housing Subcommittee met on February 11th, and just to discuss sort of ongoing property searches and the challenges to that. And I believe communication, I think, with CHA also ensued, so that's great. The library board met on the 13th of February, and they discussed programming, they discussed technology audits, they discussed some redesign to the website potentially, and they have some really cool sustainable initiatives. They're trying to continue to pursue the solar cells. I believe that it's the same hitch as last year, so they're trying to make sure this project doesn't get pushed by the wayside. And they're encouraging the use of reusable water bottles in their facilities, and they are adjusting site plans to manage wastewater better. The biggest conversation at the library board was the fireplace. It is getting a new facade. The current facade is made of plaster. When it was constructed, I think, they just went the most efficient route possible, and that facade is crumbling and cracking a little bit now. And so the library foundation, which is independent of the library board, has gifted the repairs of that facade, and the library board very graciously accepted. And so they believe that the job will take about a week and a half, and they will sort of continue to keep the library open, but they will, lay down some tarps and cover the areas that will be worked on, and they'll use some other exits and entrances by the adult book section. The other big news there is that the director, Brooke Basiste, will be on maternity leave very soon. And so the interim director will be Dean Klimek, which I think all of us have worked with Dean in some way. Yeah. It's going to be seamless, and we certainly wish her well. I wanted to share with you all at the lunar celebration that we went to. I mean, we thought it was a lot of people. It was over 290 people.
I asked the question. I'm so glad you found out the number.
Yeah.
I figured it was over 100, but I was curious.
Yeah, over 290. And I don't know why we don't have the exact number. I mean, at some point you stop counting, I guess. But yeah. It was really well attended. And they did go into a closed session to discuss an employment issue and a know your rights issue. And 2 days later, we had the library retreat, which I was corrected by Mr. Ferrante that this is a public event. So the library retreat occurred at the library on a weekend, on a Saturday. They discussed a lot of issues, like updating their Board of Trustees packet, and they discussed various focus groups and continued and new collaborations with township boards and commissions where appropriate. It was a really nice way to get to know this board. For me, this is a new board. I've never liaised with them, but I know them individually in different capacities. So what else did we do? The Mayor's Wellness Campaign. I brought that up with the library because we had a little bit of informal meeting over the phone. And I had reached out to a member of the library, Nicoletta, to join the Mayor's Wellness Campaign with regards to the library programming. She will be sharing that with us so that when we do our update at the end of the year, it's a little easier to capture all the information correctly. And I had a little bit of free time on Thursday, so I attended a CPR class at the library. And you're right, Barbara. All the classes are just amazing. Very, very well done. And before I end, I wanted to wish the Muslim community in Cranbury a very happy Ramadan. Those community members will be fasting for the whole month of Ramadan. So if you see us looking a little lethargic from sunrise to sunset, my people, I will be fasting, and I hope that I don't go into grouchy phase.
Angry?
Angry.
No angry.
And that's it. Any questions for me? I'm glad that you mentioned the mayor's wellness, that we met informally, Joanne, you, me, and I think we're going to have some nice programming. We're setting up some walks potentially, and I did speak with the Girl Scouts, and they are willing to help with a walk there
That's
too,
wonderful.
because that'll help with their opening of the Monarch Way Station. They want to in Cranbury Brook. So I just wanted to let you know that, and the public know.
Fabulous.
All right, my turn. A couple things. Well, I was thinking about dog waste. I don't know how many doggy bag stations we have set up currently, but I think that might help. It's something we can talk to Parks or I guess EC about, but setting up little stations where people can get the little plastic bags, I think would be super helpful. I know I think we have a few in town, but
We do?
yeah, I think, no?
Mhm.
Oh, we should. There's little green bags.
Yeah, that you have at the dog parks and stuff.
Mhm.
I've never seen them.
Not anymore.
I don't walk Monty in the park. So I only walk him in my neighborhood, but I've never seen them. So you've just come up with an excellent idea and follow-up for yourself.
Yes, I know. I will. I will do that. Absolutely
Write
do
that down.
Right. Yes, note to self. And just real quick, Iman, what the new fireplace facade will be stone or is it?
Yeah, they've picked a very beautiful stone that's going to sort of honor the whole image of the library in general. Like it doesn't take away from that appeal.
It's so funny because when we were there for the lunar celebration, I was standing in the lobby and I was thinking to myself, it's very blank space over the fireplace. And I'm wondering if they're going to do any sort of like art installation. So it's just so funny that you said that because I was like, it was just glaringly blank over the fireplace.
Anyway, on to my report. So on the 19th, I attended the Parks and Rec Committee meeting. They have a couple things going on. They're actively working on this plan potentially for 2026 for they're referring to it as a water pad, but it's kind of a mini water park. Location TBD, they're looking mostly at Village Park. They're looking at a lot of different ideas for how big it would be and how feasible it is to get water there, depending on which location they eventually decide on. Ken Jacobs is going to talk to the town engineer about the feasibility of bringing in town water to this potential facility. This is all sort of early planning stages, and they're just kind of throwing around ideas. So they will obviously come to the TC once they have things more fleshed out. I should preface all this by saying I was hoping that Brendan Hansen would be able to be here tonight to update us on a few things, but he was unable to, and he's going to request that if our agenda permits, that he can come on the 10th. Yeah, he will. I spoke to him today. He said he'll reach out to you. Yep. So that was one thing. The other was the Helene Cody sculpture, which was supposed to go to Memorial Park, which Brendan was supposed to present to us tonight, but again, he's unable to attend tonight. So hopefully he'll address that at a future meeting. And finally, the evergreen topic of chess tables reared its ugly head again. The Parks and Rec Committee expressed discontent with the planned location of the tables in the library. So I, again, was hoping Brendan would be here so we could talk about it, but it seems like when they come on the 10th, we'll be able to talk to them about that. They are requesting that it actually be considered for placement in Heritage Park, but we can talk about that when he comes. That's it.
Sorry, any questions? Okay. I don't really have much of an update. The only thing I wanted to update is I had a follow-up item that based on the last two planning meetings, it was recommended that we create a zoning committee. So we're in the process of doing that right now, just hearing back of the members that'll be identified for that. That's to help streamline some preliminary processes prior to a planning meeting for applications, to help with guidelines and just streamline potential challenges to applications before they reach the planning board, so that those meetings can be a little bit more efficient and less cumbersome in nature. So we'll get that together, and then that'll come before the TC as a resolution, so that can be formed. And then we'll start to schedule some meetings. Because besides the guidelines, there'll be change potentially to coding, so that has to be formalized as a subcommittee, for all lack of a better description. So I don't think that will be before the TC prior to maybe March 10th at the earliest, if everybody is on board with that. So that was just a follow-up item that I had. Other than that, I really don't have anything. Just a reminder that next weekend, I believe we spring ahead in our clocks. Is that correct? I can't believe it's that time
Not
already,
this coming weekend, the
but
following.
the following weekend. So get ready. Time is flying. I can't believe what date it is in February already. So I don't have anything. Then we have no subcommittees, but we do have a department head. Cranbury Housing Association is, oh, I'm sorry. On there, we don't have any department head updates or anything like that, right? Okay, perfect. And then I don't have any follow-up items. We had?
Quick question for you. Can you flesh out the zoning? I mean, we have a zoning committee, so
No, we have a zoning board.
Zoning
A
board.
zoning committee
So this
is
would be-
established if there's something outside that we need to form a subcommittee. Like last year, I was the liaison to the zoning board, and Michael Ferrante was the zoning committee. So if there's something that's needed directly out of the planning meeting. And so this is separate. It's almost like a subcommittee, for lack of a better description. And this would involve our planner, our engineer if needed. So it's just, we have these guidelines for applications for the planning board. And the feeling is, based on the last two meetings, and please feel free to jump in, is that the applications are not coming in as buttoned and tightened up as we think they should be. And it's taking much, much longer to get through these planning meetings, where we could probably give some counsel and have a better list of guidelines, so they can check some things off and make sure their application is complete as possible. So then when it comes before the planning meeting, they can go faster through these things, and they know the challenges and they can evaluate the challenges better, and the applicant then becomes better prepared. If you don't check that box, you know you're going to have a tougher time during the planning meeting, and your application may not get approved. So it's in everybody's best interest, the applicant and the planning board, to tighten this up a little bit.
so this would just be professionals?
No, it would be a member from the EC, a member from the
Zoning board,
zoning board.
2 members from the planning board. They're informal meetings. It's all spelled out in our code. It's called the zoning committee. The last time we made changes to the sign ordinance, we had a zoning committee. They fleshed out all the details, got the information, the data, came up with the ideas, then they bring it back to the township committee, so that there's not, a waste of time.
Gotcha.
And everything is ready to go.
And we'd pull in the engineer as needed, or a planner by needed, or
Right.
the zoning officer as needed, just as needed in those meetings. So they anticipated, 3 to 4 meetings, and we can kind of flush this out, and then we would bring that before the TC to evaluate the changes and make sure you know why they're making those suggestions.
Those are for ordinances, right? Like that are coming through. They're not
Correct.
for the things that are coming to the zoning.
No,
board.
they're not for
no.
applications coming to the
Right, they're
planning
not for the
board. They're
applications
for the
going to the zone-
checklist.
Yes.
The checklist gives, what you need when you come to the planning board.
Planning
And
board, not zoning,
apparently,
planning.
There's been some, right, things that the planning board feels could have been addressed prior to the application being deemed complete and coming to the board. And then you're spending a lot of time at the planning board on the application. And it may create some ordinances that need changes. And so the zoning committee will go through those ordinance and work with the professionals to decide what changes need to be made. And then they'll come back with the recommendation to the township committee.
The first was identifying people of each
Right.
of those committees to make sure that they could commit
And that'll
and
be done
wanted
by
to.
resolution.
Yep.
By the TC.
Do you identify the ordinances that are needed? Because I remember when the zoning committee, there was like a list that they would attack,
Well,
which there was priorities, like maybe there were
Obviously, the
5.
attorney will help the zoning committee decide which ordinances are affected by whatever changes
Okay.
they need to be made to the checklist.
The main trigger to this is giving the same critique to every application all the time, which says, okay, well, we need to then adjust the guidance so that this particular thing that we keep adjusting is in there, sort of locked. So thank you for taking this on. Like, I will say prayers for you because
Thank
it
you.
has been very long, sometimes painful meetings. But yeah, we're looking forward to that relief.
Again, hoping everybody benefits on both sides of it.
The ad hoc committee, like just if,
Well, it's not ad hoc in the fact that it's determined in the code who is to be on the committee, that it's informal, that there's no meeting minutes, that the meetings happen whenever they need to happen. There doesn't need to be a quorum for them to happen. It's informal. However, it's defined how it has to be created. So the people who are on it are defined in the code. And then a resolution is done appointing those members. And the chairperson of the committee is going to be a township committee member, which would be Lisa, because she's one of the planning board members that will be on it.
It's 150-7.
It was created for between the 2025 people.
That's in our code.
But the first thing I needed was to make sure that the people that from each of those committees are willing to do it
yeah.
or to have to move on to someone else. And so I'm 2/3 of the way through that process. And I have one more to say yes, and then it'll probably be on the March 10th for you guys to say yay or nay.
I'll bake them cookies, just keep them on board. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're so grateful for them to step up. Thank you.
Exactly, yeah. So I said I would try to cap those meetings at 1 hour so that we could get what we needed done, and be cognizant of their time. Okay,
Just as an FYI, it's the Environmental Commission, Planning Board, Planner, Planning Board Engineer, and Planning Board Attorney.
Yes. It's 2 planning board members from different classes, 1 zoning board member, 1 EC member, and then whatever professionals you need to use.
correct. I have that.
You asked Matt.
I have that almost memorized now. Okay, any follow-up items? Okay, and then, boards and commission vacancies, you can see on our resolutions that we have some appointments, this evening. That leaves for the Environmental Commission, as Barbara, had mentioned, we have 1 full membership, a first and second alternative. Municipal Alliance has the second alternative. Shade Tree has 1 full membership, and the zoning board has 1 full membership. So again, amplify that amongst the community, looking for volunteers to fill those. And it'll be really nice going into the second quarter of the year if we could really have everybody locked and loaded and full. Okay, we have no first readings this evening. I'd like to open it up for our second reading to public comment.
So the ordinance that we have on for second reading is titled Cranbury Township Ordinance Number 02-25-03, amending an ordinance fixing the salaries, wages, and benefits for various officials and employees of the Township of Cranbury, providing for the manner of payment thereof, and ratifying salaries and payments to employees and officials previously paid. The mayor can open to public.
Okay, so we'll open it if there's any public comment on that ordinance. Okay, seeing none, is there any township committee comment? Okay, can I get an adoption, a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We'll move on to roll call. Mr. Christopher?
Yes.
Ms. El-Badawi?
Yes.
Dr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
And Mayor Kinier?
Yes.
Thank you. It's unanimous.
Okay, we'll move on to consent resolutions A through E. If anyone would like them pulled out, or a motion to move A through E.
I'll move A through E.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. We'll move on to roll call for those items. Mr. Christopher?
Yes.
Mrs. El-Badawi?
Yes.
Dr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
And Mayor Kinier?
Yes.
Again, unanimous. Thank you.
Okay, we have reached the portion of our meeting that's open to public comment. As a reminder, you can come up and press the button until it turns red, state your name and put your address on that paper. And we allow a 3-minute cap. And this is our time to listen to your concerns or accolades, whatever you choose. Thank you for being here.
Good evening. My name is Eileen Zisk, and I'm here with my husband, Arthur. We live on Danzer Drive, and we've been residents for 26 years. We are consumers of New Jersey American Water, and we have reached out to them directly. But today, I'm asking what steps the town has taken to rectify 3 concerns: the chemical spill from a repackaging facility in Branchburg, the infrastructure of several pipes bursting within the town, and the foul odor and taste of the water. I understand New Jersey American Water flushed hydrants, they made repairs to pipes, and they report that the EPA deems the water safe to drink. However, it's been 4 months, and the foul odor and taste persists, making the water undrinkable. So when will the township-wide water problem be rectified?
Yeah, it's public
Okay,
comment.
so
we
that,
listen.
I guess that goes
Sorry,
in the
I didn't
record.
make that
That
clear.
goes in the record.
Absolutely.
And who can answer that question? Or nobody here can answer that question?
Well, again, the management of those pipes, you've done the right thing by contacting American Water. I can tell you that, because the service and the quality of the water is completely under American Water's control.
Does the town, well, maybe you can answer this, but I would think we have an agreement with New Jersey American Water, the township. So
They-
we have an agreement.
No, we sold the water company to them. There's no agreement.
So we have nothing to say.
No,
Board of Public Utilities.
Wow, okay. All right, well, let it be noted that our water stinks. Thank you anyway.
Good evening, and thank you for your service on the Township Committee. I know it takes a lot of time and effort. My name is Ralph Izzo. I live on 55 Cranbury Neck Road. I'm joined tonight by my wife, Karen, who's in the back. So the past few years, we unfortunately been involved in a dispute with our neighbor over land use. That dispute has been resolved, settled, all taken care of. However, during that time, we did have some interaction with township staff on how it defends its zoning ordinances. And once the issue was resolved, we reached out to the township staff to offer some advice and maybe an opportunity to understand better how the town defends its ordinances, and requested a meeting to do so. We did receive a very courteous response that said basically the township is always receptive to hear from our residents, and please email me any feedback you may have. So we did send an email outlining the 4 areas that we wish to discuss and repeated our request for a brief meeting because dialogue is always a more constructive way to see whether or not there are opportunities for improvement. Unfortunately, the response to that second request after the email was that how the zoning officer upholds the law is not up for discussion, and an in-person meeting to go over improvements is not necessary. I was a little confused as to why an email for suggested improvements might be a good idea, but why an in-person improvement meeting was not. Remember, not asking for any reconsideration, just the dialogue on how the town could do perhaps a better job in defending its zoning ordinances. Why am I here? Because I wanted to ask for clarification about why an email is okay, but an in-person meeting is not. But that same email ended with, I consider the matter closed and this will conclude any further communication from me about it, which hardly seems a participatory way to run government. I just heard Eileen ask you some questions and she didn't get any answers. I was here to simply ask, what should I do differently? How can I help with what I think could be a flawed process? Some of you are aware of the issue in full disclosure, others may not be, but it's awfully hard to sit here and see blank stares. I guess this is the process. Wow.
The opportunity to communicate with us is through public comment, so that your comments in an email, they get received and we get them and we review them, and so they don't fall on deaf ears. We all get copies of those emails from resident correspondents, but your opportunity to make your concerns publicly heard is exactly why you're sitting here today. We allow for public comment and you get that on a formal, on the formal record, and now that's documented.
Dialogue as opposed to one-way conversation, but I guess that's just not the way it works. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Mark?
Good evening, everyone. I'm here wearing 2 hats. I'll try to do it within my 3-minute, even though it's 2 different subjects. First is Cranbury Housing Associates. The CHA board and I would like to thank the township for inviting us to join in coming up with solutions to our round 4 obligations. We take this very seriously and we hope to come up with some good solutions that we can all be very, very proud of in to meet our obligations. So we do have a challenge, I think about 8 weeks to come up with some solutions, and we're working diligently to make this happen. So again, we thank you for the opportunity. We're all looking for the same outcome. The second is wearing my Historical Society hat. We have a presentation scheduled for March 9th, Sunday afternoon, to present historic preservation in Cranbury over the last 50 years. This was a presentation given to the CHA, my CHIPS membership, and it was felt that it would really be very helpful to open it up to the whole town. So the presentation will be Sunday, March 9th at the library. So we look forward to good attendance, especially our newer residents, to really find out what we have done, the town and Historical Society, to make this town and continue the town what we all love about it. So thanks very much. It's 2:00.
Mark, can you send an email with those details so we can include it in the mayor's update?
Sure. You
What?
do.
There's a form on the website.
Oh, on the website, yeah.
There's a form on the website, Mark, and then that way it comes to us.
Okay, I'll go
Yeah.
back to where
Add it
chair.
automatically.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you, thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks very much.
And then I needed,
If you can, just quickly.
any other public comment this evening? Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment. I did have one other thing I just wanted to remind our residents on. For March 1st begins late fees for the pet licensing. Additional late fees for pet licensing and rate increases. And then on March 2nd, summonses will begin. And then April 2nd is mandatory court appearances. So myself, what'd you say?
So please pay.
Yeah, so please pay. And having been a recipient of the summons last year, I never made it to the mandatory court appearance. It was a voluntary appearance. I just implore everybody to please do that because you're only going to wind up paying more. So thank you. So I forgot to get that in. Okay. Any action items besides Matt coming up with poop bags for dogs? Are there any other action items? Oops, sorry, I hit my
You had
3-minute
plenty of time,
limit.
Mark. I
Yeah.
kept you running there. Sorry about that.
Any other action items?
I didn't capture any.
Okay. A motion to adjourn?
Motion.
So
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Adjourn. Thank you.